All right. What's going on, Bills Mafia? This is Brett back with another edition of the Buffalo Bills Report. And today I have a special guest with me, my buddy Sean from Red, White, and Bills. And I'm going to leave the floor up to Sean right now.
What's up, everybody? Those of you who don't know me, Sean Kula from Red, White, and Bills. On Twitter, Red, White, and Bills. Instagram, Red, White, and Bills. I appreciate all the love and support for me and my friend here. And we're going to keep pumping out content to you. We're going to get as much live streams as we can to you. I try to put out 3 videos a week. I know Brett's going to start doing that too. He's just getting started. Show him some love. And we're going to get into talking about some Bills and a tough loss. But go ahead, Brett. What do you think?
Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's open it up. So we had the 7-5 Buffalo Bills coming into the Sunshine State of Florida to face the defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And a game that was a pretty tough game coming in. We struggled with the run game and everything. Let's dive into it. So we lost the game 33-27. And Sean, let's talk about the run game at the beginning of the game. What were your thoughts on the Bills not running the ball with at the beginning of the game?
I know we all like to see it, but I was okay with it because I knew it was going to be a game where we needed Josh to throw the ball 40 to 50 times, and this run defense, they're very stout, and not many people can run on them. Even Jonathan Taylor has struggles up until the fourth quarter against this run defense, and especially with the deficiencies at the O-line, especially the interior. And Daboll, all he likes to do is run the ball up the middle. So I was like, unless he's going to run jet sweeps and end arounds and things like that, I was okay with it. And then we fell down 24-3, and then we used Josh a lot, which was great. I wish we did it against the Patriots. And then, Singletary had a couple nice runs, 4 for 52. But even not running the ball that much, we were in position to win the game. Fought hard, came back down 24-3. But I think it was a good game plan not to come out running the ball too much because they're just a great defensive team, and especially up front, you got Vita Vea, who's 350 pounds and runs a 5. You got Ndamukong Suh, who's like 350 pounds. You got Shaq Barrett. You got JPP. It's just not smart to run the ball on this team. So we did it when they weren't expecting it, and Singletary turned a couple runs from nothing into something. He had a nice long run. I mean, obviously, we can't say it was a great run game because I don't like to count quarterback runs. But I mean, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't like to count the quarterback runs as much. But I was shocked at the beginning of the game we didn't have any runs by our running backs. It's the first time since 1991 that there's no runs in the first half by a running back. So that kind of shocked me. I thought maybe we were trying to establish the run at the beginning of the game, but we didn't.
So. Yeah, that was pretty interesting stat there. You don't think about it when you're watching, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is the first time nobody's ran the ball in the first half of the running back since like what you said, 91. And, but like I said, I was okay with it. I mean, I don't know. You probably wanted to see it more. I know you're a big run guy.
Yeah, I'm a big run guy, but I mean, I was okay with them getting some runs to Josh Allen because I thought that was going to be a great game plan. But I thought maybe we should get some runs to Singletary and Burrito.
Yeah, I agree. And, I wasn't happy seeing Moss inactive, but I think this is the 2 guys you got to roll with. And I would have liked to see Burrito. What did he get? 1 carry, like 1 actual carry. And it was that direct snap that we'll talk about later when we get into coaching. But I mean, should have given him at least a couple. No, he had one run, right? 1 actual good run.
Yeah, 1 good run. He finished the game 3 carries for 12 yards.
So, yeah, and that direct snap counts as a carry, doesn't it?
I think it does. Yeah. So
I mean,
wasn't the best game by him, but I mean, would have liked to have seen him get a couple of runs because I thought that he has the speed, like especially against the bigger defensive lineman. I thought that maybe he could get some bursts down the field for us, but didn't work out.
That's a great point. And it's hard to judge. 3 for 12, 4 for 52. It's for running backs. It's the more opportunities, the better. Like when you look at Derrick Henry, like he could start a game 10 carries for 13 yards, and then he'll finish the game 30 carries for 200 yards. Like you got to get into a momentum, and even the best backs don't have great runs. You just got to get into a rhythm, and That's something we always fail to do. But again, it's a lot on the O-line. It's a lot on the run scheme. A couple of years ago we had Pat DeMarco run. What Patriots are running with a fullback, you can't beat it. You run with a fullback and you got pulling guards. That's just like how the Fournette run, pulling guard and a tackle, and then we approach it hard, and then all he's got to do is break one tackle, and then it's him against one guy, and then he's already on the outside. So, I mean, it's tough when you run the power run with a big back. So, I mean, it would have been nice to see a little bit more, but like I said, it was a great game plan as far as getting Josh the opportunities. He had over 400 total yards, 417 yards total, 109 on the ground, 308 in the air, and he basically did it all on one foot in the second half. And like I said, he was walking out in a boot after the game, and he said in the press conference, "Well, I finished on it, so I don't think it's going to be that bad. Hopefully, it's just a precautionary." But we could talk about him later too. But let's get back to your opinion on Breida and all them.
Yeah, I wasn't. Let's talk about the run blocking by the Bills a little bit. I wasn't too happy with the run blocking, especially with the running backs and everything. I thought that we could have done a better job. I was a little surprised that we didn't have Feliciano in the game. What about you?
Oh, yeah. When I saw he was active, I was like, well, he had a nice time off. He's probably good and healthy now. Ike Bakker's not anything to write home about. So I was like, well, they'll probably get our starting crew back, get Feliciano back in there, get him game ready, because that's the thing. People, like, I'm going to bring up Boogie Basham just to bring him up. He's inactive all the time, and I still don't understand why, but you need game reps. And when he's in the game, he does well. And you need to get conditioned in the game. There's only so much practice can do for you. So I thought it'd be a smart idea to bring Feliciano back into the game, because he's your starting left guard, unless they plan on not starting him the rest of the year. That's what we'll be able to tell that next week if he starts or not. But I was surprised, because I thought you'd want your original starting five that worked well or pretty decently. And, especially after how bad the first half was with blocking, I thought they might put him in the second half, because, like I said in my pregame that I just put out, it was a tale of two halves. And although the O-line finished strong, it was absolutely terrible in the first half, and everyone could see it. Even if you're not a Bills fan, if you're a Bills hater, if you're anybody, you can see that the O-line is the issue. And Josh was running for his life, having to make every play a hero play. And you can't have that when you got an elite quarterback back there. And I was very surprised. I just don't understand it. And I guess we'll see next week if he's starting, then they might have just wanted to give him another week off. Or if he's not starting, then it means that they just don't trust him out there.
Yeah, I think they do trust him out there. I'm just surprised that they didn't play him. Maybe it was just a scheme thing. They wanted to see what they had in Ike Bakker, but I'm shocked that they didn't just pull him Bakker in the end of the first half, and then put Feliciano in. That really shocked me. I'm like, you need to get him some reps in there and just get him involved, because I thought that he's a really good blocker. I love what he does. He's very aggressive. I thought that might have been the thing that we were missing in the first half, but I'm shocked they didn't put him in.
Yeah, especially because we've noticed throughout the games this year, especially, they usually have no problem with switching people in and out of the game, and we're always like, why are you flip-flopping so much? So I would have thought they would have done it, but while we're talking about the offensive line, I got to bring up Spencer Brown, because so many people are always so high on him. And the thing about me, I don't want a tackle that can only run block. When you have a quarterback like Josh Allen or any quarterback, you don't want your offensive lineman to only be good at one thing. And yeah, I know he's a rookie. I know he's played great in the run game. I saw him just obliterate, Devin White and another guy in one run play, but he just got steamrolled every play by Shaq Barrett. He made him look silly, like he shouldn't even be on the field. And people were always saying, "Oh, when he's in the lineup, we're a better team." But the thing is, he's got great potential. He could be on this team for a long time, but he's got a lot of work to do. But in the place where it matters most is the pass blocking, because we're not a run heavy team. So yeah, it's great he can do that. But I mean, I just hope that he can develop into pass blocking too, because what's the use of an offensive lineman that can do one thing?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that in the offseason, that's something that he's going to focus on. I think he'll get better in the pass blocking. But I was surprised that they didn't try and move Darrell Williams over to the right guard or right tackle from right guard, and then maybe put Feliciano in at right guard, and then maybe move Spencer Brown inside, put him next to Deion Dawkins at left guard, just to give it a try and see if it will work.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting combinations that could have happened, but like I said, I played a little offensive line, nothing high level, but I've been around football for a long time. I got a buddy that coaches O-line, and there's when he evaluates players, there's body types. Like Spencer Brown isn't really made to be a guard. He could probably play decent at it, but everything like kickback steps are different, punches are all that stuff's different. Every offense, and I said this in my Cody Ford video. Every position on the line is different, and John Fino always says Cody Ford plays right guard like he's playing right tackle, and that's why I've been preaching since I made that video. Put Cody Ford back at right tackle, because I mean Williams he can't find a home right now. He's either bad at right tackle, decent at right guard, bad at right guard, decent at right tackle, and we paid him this money because he was phenomenal at right tackle last year. And then, it's an off-season thing. I hate to let him go because he's shown that he can be great, but I just don't see a fit for him. If we can draft a really good guard, unless we cut his contract down and bring him back as a depth piece, I don't see a spot for him on this team. And you could say the same thing about Feliciano, but it's just I just don't get what Bobby Johnson's been doing, what the draft was like. Tommy Doyle's never going to see the field. Like it's just, why would you go tackle? That's already over with. But basically my point is this offensive line has been an issue. They could have switched it around so many times, this game, especially because they've done it. I would have put Feliciano back in, maybe take Bakker out, and this game even pull Spencer Brown a few plays. Like, listen, man, if I'm Bobby Johnson, this is what Shaq Barrett's doing to you. Don't let him do this to counter that. But you never see it, and it's just he's a rookie. You gotta help him out sometimes. You gotta teach him because, I mean, a lot of stuff he's never seen some of these movements that these DNs are doing, these linebackers are doing on the outside. It's not college football anymore, and it's just hopefully we see Feliciano back, and hopefully against this Panthers team, Spencer Brown can work on the pass blocking and have a better day because he just. In the past game, he's been struggling so bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the other thing is they're not going to see as many superstars on that defense as you will with a Panthers defense or even a Patriots defense, something like that. So it was kind of hard. I mean, you had to protect Vita Vea, especially in the interior. So, and Shaq Barrett is just an incredible sack artist. So he's really come into his own. So we'll see if he can improve in the next couple of games. I think he will improve.
Yeah, you could see that he wants to. You can see that he's got the heart, and that's what you want, especially from a rookie. But it's just we're a team built to win now, and just so many struggles on the O-line. It just I've been saying it since the beginning. After week one, it's gonna if we don't come out where we want to be, it's on offensive line and coaching. And here we are after week 14. We talk about the same things every week.
Yeah, I don't understand why we keep talking about the same things every week. I mean, we talk about the battle in the trenches that we continue to lose. We lost it in the first half of the game. I mean, on both sides of the ball. We let the Patriots do whatever, or not the Patriots, I apologize. That was last week's game, but the Bucs lose it. They did everything that they wanted to in the first half, and then we really settled down. So I'm shocked that happened. I mean, we talk about it tremendously, and we just have to settle down and just play our game and play the game of football that we can definitely play.
Exactly. And like I said, I mean, the O-line is still an issue, but I thought they responded great in the second half, and they made what we've been wanting to see is adjustments from the coaching staff, and they finally made an adjustment. And part of it was on what Josh was seeing. He said, "Oh, well, I see them doing these disguised coverages, and when they bring the blitz, one of those guys is open. So you hit him on the quick routes, and that helps the O-line a little bit too because they had a huge assignment, and we saw it. If Allen had the ball more than like a second and a half, he was already under pressure, the whole first half, but I thought they responded well. And that's the other thing you got to give this team credit for. Yeah, you put yourself in that 24-3 hole, but the fact that you're going against the defending champs with a high-powered offense, just as high-powered as yours, with the GOAT on their team, you can hold them to 3 points, and then your offense can battle being down that much. It wasn't garbage time touchdown. It was a complete battle and driven on sheer will and determination and heart. And like I told you off air, I don't like silver lining in losses, but I thought they deserved that game for how they played in the second half.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought that the halftime adjustments were incredible. I loved what we did. We changed a lot of things up. I loved what Josh Allen did, especially in the second half. He started to get the ball out a lot quicker. The offensive line did a better job of blocking. There's a lot of things that went well. And I thought that Josh really put the team on his back in the second half. That was one of the things I saw. And I loved the heart that the guys had. I mean, you could have said that we're down, so much at the half, we can just tank the game and just go focus on the Panthers game next week. But they came back out. They said, we're going to get back into this game. We're going to see what we can do. We got back into the game, made it 27-all, go into overtime, and they still played with heart in the overtime, but just came out a little short. So I'm really happy with the way that they played.
Yeah, and that was the consensus with a lot of the players too, that how they really were proud of how they responded and didn't fold and played with that heart and that grit. And of course, we lost still, so that that's not what the outcome that anybody wanted. And we fell short when we could have had the game, but part of it. You want to talk about the refs now?
Yeah, let's talk about the refs. I was going to bring it up. I was going to do it after you talked, but let's bring it up now.
But so. I know we both don't like to blame refs on anything, but it was plain to see that there was a lot of calls that were missed, especially on us. Diggs was held a few times. One of them, his jersey was pulled 3 yards away. You got a clear picture shot of it. Missed on that last play of the game before the field goal to tie the game. Diggs was smashed, and then his jersey up here was being pulled down. No call. That would have put us at 1st and goal from the 1 or the 2. And I loved our chances at that to get a touchdown there in 4 plays. So, and then you got that call on Levi where he was turning his head, had his hands like this, and then Evans pulled his shoulder in like this to draw the interference call. If anything, that's OPI. And it was a terrible miss. It was egregious. And I pointed this out to one of my friends. I said, how come players get fined for having untucked shirts? They get fined for taunting, but the refs don't get any fine or repercussion for blown calls, and they make $250,000 a year to be an official. I don't. Somebody mentioned that on another stream. I don't know if that's true, how much they make, but they make money too. Whether it's $250,000 or $50,000 a year, they make money, and they have no repercussion for bad calls. They just say, "Oh well, we missed it. We got to do better next game." And it's not just the Bills; it's all across the league, and it's all different. Like the game I watched, the Chiefs and the Raiders. That was the only game on where I'm at, and Sorensen was in the end zone, and Moreau, I don't know his first name, was going up for a catch in the end zone. Sorensen didn't turn his head, and he saw the announcers were like, "Oh, he read Moreau's hands. He go up." So Sorensen threw his hands up like this, and he blocked it. How come he doesn't have to turn his head? How come that's not a defensive pass interference for not turning his head? But Levi Wallace makes the effort to turn his head, doesn't touch Evans, gets pulled into Evans, and it's a DPI. Then that's what I'm saying. Like it's so much inconsistent across the league, and it needs to be fixed, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, it seems like it's been an issue all across the league, not just with the Bills. It's been all over the league, and it seems like they favor certain teams with certain calls. And I think they need to really straighten up and figure out what they're going to do, because these pass interference calls, they can change the game. I mean, look at the game against New Orleans where they didn't get that call. That changed the whole outcome of the game. But this one definitely changed the outcome of the game, because we should have won this game. I mean, we had it right there. That would have set up a 1st and goal at potentially the 1 yard line. We could have had, a touchdown there. It could have been anything could have happened. You have 4 plays where we could have put the ball in the end zone. So that they really changed the game. but the Stefon Diggs call, the call that wasn't called, was definitely a pass interference in my opinion. You could see the defender had his hand on his shirt, pulling it down, and I mean it's obvious as day that should have been a call. And then if you look at the Levi Wallace one, you could tell that Mike Evans was definitely going into him and had his hands around him, and Levi was trying to go for the ball. That's what happened, and it shouldn't have been called. So I think that it shouldn't have came down to that Levi Wallace call. The game should have been over or not in overtime in the regular game. In the fourth quarter, it should have been over. We should have won the game right then and there. So I'm going to bring up a comment real quick. Show it from Catalogia. Bad play calling in the red zone with the refs being refs was the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your comment. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, being down 24-3, the fact that we were able to bounce back, and then we had another game where we had the chance to win the game on the last drive, and we were flying down the field effortlessly, and then to leave the game up to a call in the end zone where it should have been called. And then, like Brett said, if that's called when it should have been, then you got, we'll say at the 2, but it probably was at the 1 because it was in the end zone. So 1st and goal from the 1, it could be over in the next play, run a Josh Allen sweep, or do one of those plays where Josh rolls out and then draws in the defender and throws it to Knox in the end zone. There's so many things you could have ran in those 4 plays. And like I said, even if we, you still got the field goal behind you. So if you don't get that on those 4 plays, you still got the overtime tie. So it was a shameful officiating. And again, we're not just saying it as Bills fans; it's all across the league. And there's no consistency on the league with it. And it's just, it was a shame it came down to that. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, I saw one account. It was on Instagram. They said that college football, they get the calls right almost every single time. Sometimes they make mistakes, but it seems like it's blatantly obvious that they're missing these calls. I don't know if it's because of the money, they want to get paid more or what, or they're just thinking about their lunch from the end of the game or something. I don't know what it is. I mean, or maybe it's just they favor certain quarterbacks and they don't want to call certain things on certain teams. But I mean, I hope it's not that. I really do. But it seems like, and I don't know if you would agree with this, but it seems like, especially against the Bills, they don't get those calls. And it's been going on since, the days when we were struggling, with Rex Ryan and everything. They weren't giving us those calls. So I don't know if that's it, if we just have to be, harder on the referees or what. But, I mean, maybe we should just call them out more.
Yeah, somebody needs to call them out. They need to be on the hot seat, like not fired, obviously, but like they need to be let known. You can't be calling these games like this because you take people out of it. And I know football is a money thing. Roger Goodell probably doesn't care who wins and who loses. He's getting his money and his revenue. But the fact that so many games, not just Bills, come down to terrible officiating, and even in that situation, like, yeah, I know you want it to be a good game. You maybe want the Bucs to win, but when it's so obvious like that it wasn't like it was you could go either way call. Like that one on Diggs, that was a blatant, obvious call that should have been made. And calls like that are the ones that should be like, look at NFL, look at this, whoever the crew was, Novak, his crew. You guys didn't call this, and it was 150% a call that we know should be made because we teach this to you in the offseason when we talk about calls and what the standard is for calls. And you missed it, you guys are suspended, or you guys aren't getting this game check, or however, I don't know if it's salary or whatever, but or you're fined this much money because, like I said, you find players who for having their shirt untucked. You find people for taunting $10,000 for screaming in someone's face or something. Like that shouldn't be happening. That's terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it should be the players should be allowed to criticize the referees, not so much that it's profanity and stuff like that, but they should be able to say, hey, man, you missed a call. You should have gotten this right. You need to review it. And I also think that it should, the calls that are missed, if a a coach thinks that there's a call that they blatantly missed, I think it should just go under review no matter what, especially in the defensive pass interference, offensive pass interference category. It should just be a review. It shouldn't be a challenge. It should just be a review. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that because I know it's a weird thing to try to go through because I know they'll be like, well, then it would be like that all game. But I feel like it should just be like on plays like that, like not just every play that's a penalty, but a play like that where it's a ball for the end zone and it's a blatant thing. You should be able to. It should be reviewed by New York all the time. And the fact that it wasn't, I don't know. Baseball does it, and they did it last year. I think they started it last year, and I'm a Nationals fan, so I got this MLB app and I watch every game because I'm not watching it from Washington. But there was a lot of calls that on the field, they called it a guy out on second base for on a steal or something, and you're like, there's no way. So they always go like this, and then they go back on there. They go to whoever they're answering to, and they say, oh no, he was safe. You see right there where he put his hand underneath there and you missed the angle. Then okay, come back. That should be like how it is here. And I know they have something like that where New York, there's nothing challengeable in the overtime and last 2 minutes of the game or whatever. But if New York sees a play like that, they should, oh wait guys, hold on. Just like they did with that the first down for Fournette. They stopped the game, they watched it over 100 times and they're like, okay, he got it. And I think they should be doing stuff like that.
Now, I like that you brought that up. Do you think it was a first down on that Leonard Fournette carry?
No, but I mean, when you look back at it, I mean, Edmonds was at the hole, and instead of being big and 6'5" and strong like he is, he hit him and then went to the side. You got to get him up. You got to hit him head on. And because by what he did by going to the side, it gave Fournette the extra half an inch to go like this, and then Poyer hit him. So it was close. I think he probably got it just because of that. But even if he didn't get it, Brady would have got it anyway in the next play on 4th and half an inch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's the thing. Like maybe that one was debatable, but that Diggs one wasn't debatable for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought there was a couple other calls that were missed in the game as well. I mean, there's another one that was on Carlton Davis where he's grabbing the back of Diggs' shirt, and it was completely missed. And we talked about it off air, and you brought it up. But, I mean, we both saw it where, the play was designed to go to Diggs, and they couldn't get it to Diggs, and you were wondering why wasn't he looking for the ball? Well, he was held on that play, and they missed it completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I didn't notice it at first, but then when they replayed it, and that's the thing, like our TV angle is different, but they're on the field, and there's back judges and everything that can watch that, and they just completely missed that. And the fact that his undershirt was being pulled back like 3 yards, like that's a holding every time. 99 times out of 100, that's a holding, and that was the one that wasn't. And it's always funny because whenever we say that 99 out of 100, 9 out of 10, the one is always against us. It's never we're that whenever that team that gets that call. And like I said, I watched Levi and Dane's presser, and they should have asked Levi. So on that interference call on you in the last near the last play of the game, how'd you feel about that call? And he said it was a bad call. And the funny thing is, he's going to get fined for that, but the ref won't get fined for the crap call. And if I was Levi, I would have said the same thing. He was very respectful. He said it was just a bad call, but I mean, he said I couldn't play the ball any better than I did, and he couldn't have. Obviously he could have picked it off like in a best case scenario, but as far as covering the pass, you couldn't cover it any better. Yeah. And it was a shame that had to happen to him because I thought he played a great game. Him and Dane Jackson both. I thought we can get into them too right now if you want. I thought definitely. In the absence of Trey White, Dane Jackson, he has 7 tackles and a pass deflection or 2, and he went up against Gronkowski a couple times, and that's no easy task because he's 6'6" and Dane's like 5'9" or 5'10", or was he 6 foot maybe? I don't know, but Gronk's not an easy guy to guard, and this is basically Levi and Dane's first time as a cornerback 1 and cornerback 2, like being legit out there, and I thought they played a great game. I mean, the first half. Well, the other thing that was weird was we actually did a lot of man coverage in the second half, and we actually started playing better because what we noticed in the first half was Godwin and Evans were open every single time, and they were playing too soft of a zone. And that's the thing, like with our, people get on Levi a lot, like, oh, he gives up like 5 catches in a game, but when they run their zone, they're giving up that easy play for a reason. That's why you play zone. And I thought when they played man, I thought they did pretty well. I mean, how did you think the secondary played?
Yeah, that's a great point that you brought up. I noticed that they did switch to man coverage, and I was wondering, I'm like, why aren't you pressing on the receivers? I mean, it looked like in the first half, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were open the whole entire time, and then you started seeing that they were putting more attention to Chris Godwin. Mike Evans got open a couple times, but I really liked the way that the corners were playing. I loved that they were, trying to get physical with them, put some, I saw it at the line of scrimmage, especially they were starting to put their hands on the receivers and then try and disrupt the play at the beginning of the play.
Yeah. And like I said, I know we're a zone team, but it was a tough call for Frazier. I know, like we always talk about, they're kind of, coordinators are kind of stubborn, but like, Frazier's a great coach and I love Frazier. I hope he stays with us, but that was it was a gutsy call to switch something you're not used to doing against this team, with Evans and Godwin, who are like 6'3" and they can moss anybody. They can make any play. Godwin, I think he had still 10 catches, but a lot of them were just, weak zone coverages. So, and then Tyrone Johnson played terrible. He played awful today. He got juked out by Gronkowski. He was getting smoked every time he was in coverage, and it's just missing tackles. It just wasn't a good look for TJ. I love TJ. He deserves the contract, but we needed him today, and I think he made one play. He made that on the Fournette screen. He hit him for a loss. That was like his only good play. But I mean, other than that, I thought especially Wallace and Jackson. I mean, we know Poyer and Hyde did great too, but I liked what I saw from Wallace and Jackson, because considering this was going to be regular season wise the toughest game they would have had to play as far as passing goes. You're going against the GOAT. You're going against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Gronkowski. So I thought for the situation, I thought they played pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they played outstanding. I mean, you're going to lose a corner in Tre'Davious White, and it was tough to lose him. And so we knew that there was going to be a little bit of a regression coming into this game, and this is the most important game of the year. So we knew that there's Tom Brady was going to try and figure out the weakness in the game for the Bills defense, and the weakness is probably going to be Levi Wallace. Because I really like the way that Dane Jackson was played a lot tight coverage, but that Levi plays a little bit of soft coverage, and you can get the easy completions right there. So I like that. I love that they were getting some tight coverage, and Levi was making some plays. I like the way he was tackling. I love, everything about it. But, I agree with you on TJ. So I thought that he had a horrible game today. I mean, it was probably one of my players that was going to be on the bad list today.
Yeah.
But
definitely. It wasn't his best. It was probably his worst game this season for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe even dating back to last season, it was probably his worst game in the last 2 years.
I think it was his worst game since the NFL Scouting Combine when he missed that which way the ball was going to be thrown.
Oh, that was him, wasn't it?
That was him, yeah. So,
wow. But now that we're talking about the secondary, one play it came to mind, that play where Hyde kind of jumped too soon, and then Mike Evans made that like incredible catch with his fingertips, and he jumped like 20 feet in the air. Like if he misses that, they go for a field goal there, and it's different. That's the crazy thing. Like it wasn't that Hyde. He may have had a bad play on it, but the fact that he threw it so high in the air, and Evans, being the freak athlete he is, 6'4", he's got the length, he's got the speed, the jump, and it was just a great play. But I mean, if it just goes through his fingertips, it was 3rd and 5, 4th and 5, they're getting a field goal. Who knows? Maybe that last drive when we got the field goal would have been the game.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was a tough play. And then what made me really mad was when Brady just chucked the ball up like 50 feet in the air, and then Evans didn't even know the ball was coming to him. He just chucked the ball, and it's like a punt, and then Johnson just gets beat.
Yeah.
And then then there was like a 25-yard pass. So, it was just, I'm sure he knows that. He'll hit the tape and he'll be like, I can't believe I played this bad. But, he's still one of our best players. So he'll bounce back. But it was just, he had a rough game.
Yeah, going back to the halftime adjustments that we saw from the Bills, I really liked the fact that you could see on the when we were watching on TV that McDermott was going over to the assistant coaches and he was trying to talk to them, saying, "Hey, man, wasn't working. Let's fix this." And he brought everybody over and said, "Listen, we need to tighten this up, and then we'll be good." So I really liked that he did that. And I also noticed, and I don't know if you noticed it as well, he was talking to Dable a lot during this game, telling him what the defense was giving him and then telling him what to do. So I really like that. And the coach, I thought that, that's a little selfless of him. He was trying, you see that they try and do this maybe after the game, tell your coaches, hey, you missed this, you missed that. But, you can tell that McDermott really wanted to win this game. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the good things McDermott did today. He did a lot of bad, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's even more sad because Dable's got the box seat. How can he's supposed to be seeing this better than McDermott is? And the fact that McDermott had to talk to him and say, hey, this is what they're doing, this is what we got to do. And Daboll's not seeing that. Daboll's been so inconsistent. But McDermott, I love McDermott. He's a great coach. I'm glad he's our coach. I'm happy with him, and I hope he stays with us for a long time. But he regressed this year because last year we were 13-3 because he was aggressive and he trusted this offense. We have Josh Allen. We have Stefon Diggs. We have Dawson Knox. We have Emmanuel Sanders. We have Gabe Davis. We have Cole Beasley. And the fact that some of these decisions, like the Green Bay game, it was 10-0. They were in the same position we were when we were down 10-0. 4th and goal at the 4th and 3 was it 4th and goal with like 3 yards to go for the first down? No. 4th and 3 at like the 12 or something easy to get. And the Green Bay Packers said, okay, we're going to go for it. And they got a touchdown, 10-7. We decided to go for a field goal when we both stated multiple times, you can't beat the Bucs on field goals. McDermott knew that, and he decided to go for the field goal. And then they got a touchdown the next drive, so 17-3. And I said to a couple people off air, I said, there's no difference, in my opinion, from 17-3 and 17-0. Luckily, McDermott got bailed out, and we tied the game 27-27. But that was just one of the calls because if you get that touchdown, who knows? I mean, yeah, you got the chance of not getting it. But with the guys we got on our offense, the fact that you can't trust them to get 3 yards to get a touchdown, and even if you don't get it, the Bucs have to go 97 yards to get a touchdown, or even get they get 60 yards to get a field goal, and you couldn't trust your offense to do that was crazy to me. And then you got one situation where it's like 4th and 3 around the 50, you punt, and then it's 4th and 2, and you decide to do a direct snap instead of leaving your offense out there that you have all this money surrounded by, all these star athletes, all these elite talents, and you decide to do a direct snap, it doesn't work. And it's just, he's been, as great as the coach he is, he showed a lot of cowardice this year. And unfortunately, I hate saying that word about him because I love him as a coach, and he should be feeling it. Like, how come I can't be aggressive this year? Why, it's costing us games. Yeah, he was aggressive in the Titans game when maybe he could have kicked a field goal. I liked going for the win. It was just a bad play call, but he was aggressive on that play, and it didn't work out for us. And it seemed like he was scared ever since then to be aggressive. And, it's just, it's coaching. Like I said in the beginning of the year, if we don't go where we need to be going to, which is a Super Bowl, it's off of coaching and offensive line play. And like I said in the beginning of the show, every week we talk about the same thing, coaching and O-line play. And I just, for the life of me, I can't understand how McDermott just doesn't see this unfolding in front of his eyes, not trusting his offense. We have all these playmakers, and you just put them on the bench, and then they just like, why isn't he trusting us? And, it's just, I don't want you guys to think I'm just talking bad about McDermott, but how do you feel about those 3 specific calls that McDermott had, although we did come back in the game and tie it in regulation? How do you feel about those 3 specific calls?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, the one that really was the bonehead play for me was, why would you have the punt team on and try and run a play to Burita when you could have just had the offense on the field, had Diggs and Knox and Cole Beasley, and go to one of your playmakers that you're paying all this money to. Why would you take them off the field? And even Allen, you're paying him $250 million. He's, your franchise quarterback. And you put him on the bench and say, hey, I'm going to run the ball with my running back, who's a running back 3 technically on our roster, should be running back 1 in my opinion, behind between 1A and 1B and Singletary and Burita. But you take them off the field and then you put in Burita and have him run the ball. I mean, it was kind of obvious to me that they're going to do that. But, I mean, I even said to my father who was watching the game with me, I said, hey, they're going to try and run a direct snap or something like that. So I was really shocked about that. But, I mean, I love the way that he coached this game in certain ways, but that was one of the plays where it was kind of bonehead to me, and I'm like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah, and it's rough because we know he's a great coach. And last year what made us so great, like I said, was he trusted the offense. And you could tell it bothers Allen every time he doesn't trust them to go on that 4th and 2 or the 4th and 3, because I'm taking my offense every time. You run in a direct snap and you got 10 guys in the box. You got one guy returning or 8 guys in the box, and you're running a direct snap with crap blocking. Like, it was just, oh, man. I mean, when you got your punt team out there, a lot of them aren't even offensive linemen. You got like AJ Epinesa and Tommy Sweeney and Gilliam and people out there that don't normally block.
Right.
It's just your special teams, and you just, man, I wanted to call that because 4th and 2, Josh Allen took a couple 3rd and shorts for first. We were 2 for 13 on 3rd down, so we didn't have many, but there was a 4th down play where Josh Allen ran it. There was a 3rd down play where Josh Allen ran it and got the yards. And I'd take that anytime over trying to get a direct snap. And you might get lucky like that guy in Seattle did and get a 75-yard touchdown. But the odds of that all happening is unlikely. And maybe we could have got the 1st down, but like when you got people on Tampa Bay who are super fast and, they probably saw it coming. I'm sure they did something differently. They didn't do anything differently on. I mean, when they're running punt defense, they're probably always looking for a fake play, and we kept the offense out for a second. We wanted to go for it, so they're probably thinking, oh, it might be something coming. They're desperate. They're down 24-3 or whatever it was at the time, so they probably were looking for it. And Burita was probably lined up a little bit closer than he normally was. And, just bad play all around. But the one that got me the most, in my opinion, was deciding to kick the field goal when you know that you need touchdowns and you're down 10-0, 10-7 is a different game, and you just got to trust his team. And that's where he's failed this year. Was he lost the trust in his offense with the elite weapons we got, and he just, let's be conservative and go for the field goal. We might get a chance next time. And then you give up 17-3. 24-3. 24-3 going into half. Now it's all basically perfect football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one of the things I really was focusing on, when I did my preview, and I don't know if you even said the same thing. You might have, but I said we have to play perfect football in this game, or else, we got to eliminate the penalties. We got to eliminate the turnovers. That's the way we're going to win this game. So I was really happy that we eliminated most of the turnovers and eliminated a lot of the penalties. There's a couple penalties that we probably shouldn't have gotten called, but one penalty I was really happy with. We talked about it off air with the Ryan Jemison and Ed Oliver little skirmish that happened there. I was really happy that he did that. So
yes,
I'm thrilled with that. I think that Ryan Jemison is a little bit of a bully and he tries to get away with the cheap stuff. So I was happy that Ed Oliver stood up for himself on that play. And I also saw Tremaine Edmonds do the same thing. There's a little skirmish before that. So I think that Ed Oliver was like, hey, listen, we're not taking your crap anymore, and we're going to start, fighting back. So if you keep doing this, we're going to fight back.
Yeah, and I liked it too. I don't like taking penalties, but Jensen's like that to every single player. Every game you watch, he's getting at it with the D tackle. So, I mean, the officials, the NFL should notice this. This is what he does. Every game, it's a different player that's having to fight him. So, I mean, if anyone was going to do it, it's Oliver, because he's got that no BS mentality. He's tough. He's physical. So, I mean, it was nice to see. I mean, it would have been nice to have the 15 yards, but we still got points on that drive anyway. But I definitely was okay with that penalty at the time. I mean, if it took back the play, I would have been really pissed off. But luckily, it didn't take the play away because it was after the play. Thank God. But that illegal shift they called on us in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They still 79 moves at the same time as 14, and he didn't move at all. So
no, I was like, why was that called? I'm like, when does a offensive lineman shift? He knows to get in stance and then stay in stance. So I'm like, why was that called?
Because if he moved, it would have been a false start.
Right. It would have been a false start. Why is it an illegal shift? That was just a baloney call that they were trying to have a makeup call. They missed it on another play, but I mean, I didn't think they missed any calls for the Bucs. You know, we both said that we don't like to criticize the refs, but this is a game where they definitely were favoring the Bucs, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot more should have been called. There was a lot of holdings on Diggs. There was a DPI on Diggs, obviously. So, I mean, I think the Bucs had 4 penalties. We had 7, and a lot of them shouldn't have been called. But, I mean, that's just been our story all year, was we don't get the calls we need. We get the calls against us that we don't deserve. So it's rough, but you know, 7 penalties we got, so we gotta cut that down.
Yeah, definitely. So instead of talking about the refs, I think we did a really good job of calling them out a little bit. Let's talk about some of the players of the game. Who are your players of the game?
One of them, I'm just gonna start with the weird one. I thought Matt Hack had a great game. He had 6 punts and 4 of them were inside the 20. And his biggest one was pinning him at the 6 in overtime when we couldn't get the first down. And, you know, he's gotten a lot of flack for some. I mean, yeah, he's slow when he releases the punt. But I started thinking about that. I was like, maybe he takes more time. This might be stupid. But I was like, maybe he takes more time because he wants the Gunners to get down there quicker. So then we have a better chance of covering the punt. And, you know, I also don't like it because then he could get blocked easily. But we brought him on this team for his coffin punting. And, you know, 4 times inside the 20 out of 6 punts. And, you know, he had a long of 63. So I thought that was a great game for him. It could have came in clutch. But unfortunately, the defense with that bad DPI call and then Edmonds blowing the coverage, we lost the game on those next 2 plays, a couple plays after that. But overall, I thought Hack had a great game. And you want to go 1 for 1 here, or do you want just me to list all my players first?
So let's do it as one player that you were really happy with on offense, one player even on special teams you're happy with, one player on defense, and then your players that you've thought struggled in this game.
Okay, so can I get one more offensive guy? I know I said special teams first, but yeah. I just wanted to throw him out there because he doesn't get a lot of credit for the things that he does. But I mean, we're not going to say Josh Allen because that's the obvious one. So I'm going to go with Beasley. Although I know Diggs and Knox had a great game, but Beasley was 9 for 64, and this is what we've been saying for multiple weeks: was you got to get him involved. He's a chain mover, and he had a lot of clutch plays. You know, 9 for 64, and a lot of them were passing first downs. You know, we had 16 passing first downs, and he probably had a good chunk of them. So I thought Beasley had a great game. He came in clutch when we needed him. You know, a lot of great plays. So he's my guy on offense of a playmaker, and a guy on defense I got for a playmaker it's a tough for me because I mean I'm not gonna say Edmonds because he had a couple bad plays, but he played great. But my guy for sure that I'm gonna mention is Harrison Phillips again. He has 6 tackles, and last week when he had 7 tackles and a tackle for a loss, it was like his career best game as a Buffalo Bill. I mean, his NFL career rather, and he made a lot of great plays. He had a lot of great moves and, you know, and blitzes, and not blitzes, but pressures on, you know, Tom Brady. So I thought he had a great game defensively.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. For me, I'm going to say I'm going to go with Knox. I mean, I thought he had a fantastic game. I was really happy with, you know, the way that he transitioned from this game to the last game. You know, he made some costly drops in the Patriots game. Came into this game, he looked really focused. I was happy with what he was doing. Noticed him blocking a lot better too. So I was really thrilled with that. And on defense, I'm going to call out a guy that, you probably have never even heard of, is Eli Anku. He got his first sack. So I was really thrilled with that. He got 2 tackles today. So I was really happy with him. So who were your players, or you already went over your players that struggled, right?
I didn't mention a guy. Are we doing offense and defense we thought had a bad game? Or just
let's do offense and defense.
Okay, well, I kind of already mentioned my defensive player. I already said Tyrone Johnson. I mean, he looked flat all game. He was getting juked out by Gronkowski, who was like 50 years old and has no moves. He's not quick of feet at all. And he just got burned by him a couple times. And, he just didn't show up. He had a lot of bad plays. He made that one good play, on Fournette and the screen pass. But overall, he just didn't have a great game. And offensively, I'm gonna say Spencer Brown, because especially in the first half, he was just getting eaten alive by Barrett and JPP and whoever lined up on him. He was just getting smoked, and he looked like he shouldn't even be on the field. And yeah, he's a rookie. He's had some great plays for us, mainly in the run game. There's a lot to be desired for his pass blocking. I know he can work on that, but we can't have offensive linemen who can only do one job, because at that point you're kind of useless to us, especially if you can't pass block, because we're a pass heavy team. And, a lot of people are saying how great our offense is with him in it, but he's also costed us a lot of plays. So, I mean, a lot of those big sacks, he gave up, I think 2 total sacks in the first half alone. And, obviously the offensive line did better in the second half, but he was awful in the first half. So Spencer Brown on offense and Tyrone Johnson on defense for me.
Yeah, I think my player on offense, that I wasn't too happy with, was Matt Burrito. I thought we could have done a little bit more with him. He missed that block on that was a tough block. He probably, wasn't going to make it, but do a better job chipping on that play, in my opinion. Yeah. Do something better. And then on defense, somebody that didn't even jump on the stat board was Mario Addison. I was shocked. I'm like, we're paying him so much money this year, and we're not even getting him on the stat board. You're not seeing the sacks or anything at all. And then he jumps off sides on a costly mistake. These are the things, I see you shaking your head right there. These are the things that, we need to have him making plays, not making mistakes. He's a veteran. He's been in the league for so many years. To look at the ball, look down the line, make sure that ball is snapped before you go. These are the little things that we're missing. So I was surprised that he wasn't even on the stat sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's had a decent year. And one thing I will say about this defensive line as a whole, and I've said it multiple times, a lot of people, they look like, oh, we don't have the sack numbers. But when you look at it, we don't have a player that plays more than 40% of the snaps. And you don't know if they're out there on pass rush snaps. So, people say, oh, we got Rousseau, why isn't he making noise? But he's been great. Rousseau's been great. Oliver's been great. Starr's been okay when he's, pretty good when he's been in. Last week he did bad. But, Addison and Hughes, they still get pressures. And this, like you said, the only thing Addison did this game was jump off sides when we're down 3 scores. Why are you trying to time a snap when you're down 3 scores? I just don't get it. But, rough day for him. I agree with you.
Yeah, this is, you brought up a really good point that none of the defensive linemen are going to play more than probably 40-50% of the snaps. I'm surprised, we're not going to have a guy that's going to have 10 sacks, 15 sacks, something like that. Those days are going to be over with us, especially in this McDermott defense. So I'm surprised that we don't have somebody that's at least at 5-6 sacks yet. I don't even think we have one yet.
Addison has 4.
Yeah, Addison has 4.
And Rousseau has 3.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have somebody. We talked about we're rebuilding this defensive line. How come we don't have somebody that has that many sacks? Besides the rotation, that's the only reason why. I think somebody can get there.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said in my pregame show, or I'm on the live with my friend Duncan, we were up until today, we were the number 1 team in pass rush rate. So as far as getting pass rushes in a game, we were number 1. and the Bucs were number 1 in pass protection rate. So it was the best pressure team against the best pass blocking team. And, our sack numbers aren't jumping out at your face, but so much goes into being a D lineman. A lot of the secondary, not that secondary is not elite, but a lot of the picks come off of great defensive line pressure. And a lot of sacks come off of great secondary coverage. So, I mean, we don't have a team that's got to have like Micah Parsons or, TJ Watt or whatever numbers, but people have to understand it's basically just because of the rotation, because Greg Rousseau could have 10 sacks, but he's playing 30% of the snaps, and 25% of those snaps are run blocking. So, I mean, it doesn't look good as far as stats go, but this defensive line, I think, is worth the money that we're paying for them. I know maybe Hughes and Addison make a little bit too much, but they still make their play. I mean, Hughes only has a sack and a half this year, but he's got a lot of pressures, and that all matters. It really does. But it is disappointing not seeing all these sack numbers with all the talent we got. But it's more than just sacks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this year Hughes has been a little sloppy. I'll bring up a good point to this, and we saw it in the game today, where we had Tom Brady stopped on 3rd down, and Hughes should have had a sack on him, and he just let him go, and you saw Tom Brady going right down the field. I think 44, 45. I can't remember if it's 44 or 45-year-old going down the field. We saw it in the 20 years that he played for New England. We see it again. I mean, we just couldn't bring down Tom Brady, but I mean, that was the best opportunity for him to have a sack there, and he just missed it.
Yeah, it was having I think another time after that too, where there was a holding on offense and defense, so it got called back anyway. It was when Obata got his helmet ripped off. They had him in the backfield, and they just missed it. And he's not agile at all. He's slow. He's not athletic. I mean, yeah, he looks great for 45, and he's still playing. He's the best quarterback ever, but there's no reason why he should have got out of that. And then Obata got juked out by him too on that 20-yard run he had. Obata just didn't run at him. He just waited for him and got juked out by a 45-year-old unathletic person. So it just there was so many head scratchers.
Yeah, there's tons of head scratchers, but I mean, I really like the way that we kept our composure, especially in the second half. We kept fighting. I was really thrilled with all of that. So, I mean, and I loved another thing was I loved Tyler Bass in this game. I thought he had a good game too. He was one of the underrated players, and I think he's having a really good year. Somebody that doesn't get a lot of credit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's the best kicker in the league, and minus the Patriots game with that win was crazy. I mean, I think he missed 2 kicks. Besides that, he's 100% on his extra points. He was 2 for 2 on field goals today. And that it was a short field goal, but you're down by 3, and that's a pressure situation. And he made that field goal even though it was short. When you're down 3 points, this is you're going for it. This is your last chance, and he made it. Anything could have happened, and he came out and did well.
Yeah, I've been thrilled with him. I mean, I think he was a great addition by the Bills. I was a little surprised when we got rid of Hashka, but I mean, I'm happy that we have him. He reminds me so much of Steve Christie. I don't know if you remember him from back in the day. Yeah, he reminds me so much of Steve Christie, and I love the swagger that he brings to the team. I mean, I don't think he gets a lot of credit for that, so I love when he gets
the best. Hashka had to go. He was just old. It was his time, and he knew that. And then he got cut. And he got cut from the Jags or whatever team he went to after us. He got cut. So, I mean, drafting Bass, that's a 20-year player right there.
Yeah, especially in this, in Buffalo, you got to have somebody that has a big leg. So I was so thrilled when we got him. But I mean, the first couple games, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like overly thrilled with him. I'm like, you got to get this kid out of here. Like, it's time.
You were one of them people, huh?
Yeah, I was one of them people. I'm not gonna lie. I'll say it. But now I believe in Bass.
Yeah, I remember when all that was going on. Not to talk bad, well, people that thought that, but his first game when he had that missed extra point and a missed field goal, everyone was like, "Why we get this kid? Why we do this? Blah blah blah." And it wasn't just you. It was like a lot of other people were saying that, and like they didn't want him on the team. And I was just like, just wait. He's going to be fine. He's got the leg. He's got the accuracy. He's a total package for a kicker. He's outstanding. I said, just give him time. And then last year he was absolutely outstanding. And then this year he's been. So, I mean, but of course you're going to think that when you draft someone and then, the first game they struggle a bit, but we got a great gem with Bass.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with him. I mean, I love the one thing that he doesn't get a lot of credit for, especially is on the kickoffs. I like that he keeps his head down, something that you don't really see a lot of the kickers doing. Sometimes they pick their head up, and that's why the ball goes short, but he's keeping his head down and really driving through the ball.
Yeah, and I like how sometimes it didn't work in this one time, but how they kick it really high and he tries to pin him in the corner and gives the coverage team a lot of time to get down there and try to make a play, inside the 20. That one play where they took it to the 40 didn't really work out, but it got called back for holding anyway. But it worked a lot in the Saints game.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it, but I know you wanted to talk about the coaching staff. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about with McDermott? Did you get everything covered that you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say about him is just I think he just needs to trust himself, to trust the team, because he did it last year and everything was great. It seems like this year he just doesn't want to take the chances that we took last year, and I think that's holding him back as a coach, and it's holding our team back. He just has to get back to what he thought last year, and the mentality he always preaches his team for the last 4 years. This is his 5th year now, and there's a reason why we've been in the playoffs 3 of the 4 seasons he's been a coach. So just got to keep believing in yourself and believing in your team.
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes with the aggressiveness that he has. I mean, sometimes, he doesn't have that aggressiveness. He tries to play tentative, and I think it costs us some games. I mean, you look at the offensive coordinator that we have. He plays to keep us in the game. It's not usually to win the games necessarily. But I think that if he just said, hey, we're going to be a little bit more aggressive, I think it would really help.
Absolutely. I agree with you there.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on this? Anything else?
No, I think we covered it all pretty well. I mean, the season's not over by any means. I mean, let's hope Allen's okay. I know he's in a boot, but I'm just going to say it's precautionary. I think if you have to sit him next week, if it's a little bit, banged up, if you got to sit him next week, I'm confident in Mitch to beat the Panthers with our offense. I mean, Panthers have struggled this year, and I think our defense is going to be outstanding. So I think we can win with Mitch. If you have to sit Allen, we might not have to. But if you have to, I'm confident in Mitch to win this game. But, I mean, we could win outright here and still got the division title. But we can't be dropping games, especially one more at the most is all we can drop. If we drop 2, we're done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the only game that comes to mind that I think we are going to have a tight battle, I don't think we're going to lose it, because I think I love the way that we had the heart today. It's something that we didn't have last week. But I think that we're going to win out. I really do.
Me too.
But the game we might lose is going to be the Patriots game. Other than that, I think you're going to see a totally different team. And I think we're going to be hungry and ready for the playoffs. So
absolutely. The Patriots game will be tough, but we definitely got this game. We're going to win out. I'm feeling it. I'm confident. And we'll get hot right in the playoffs. KQ, however you pronounce it, said Bills versus refs. Yeah, it's Bills versus a lot of things, but we're going to beat all of them next week, and then into the playoffs, we're going to get hot, and it's going to be a great postseason, and we're going to be happy at the end of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, the Bills versus the refs is right. We talked about it earlier. I won't get into it too much, but this was a game that some costly penalties really hurt us. So,
absolutely.
But last thoughts by me. I'm just going to say, I think, we're going to be higher than a 7th seed. I really do. I think we're going to be back into that 5 range, maybe even pushing for the division title. That's where I think we're going to be. And I think we're going to be hot in the playoffs. And I think we're still going to go deep in the playoffs. I think, we have a shot at going potentially to the AFC Championship game again, maybe even further. I'm hoping for further, because in my lifetime, I haven't seen a Super Bowl. I'm only 24 years old. So I'm hoping for that Super Bowl time. Fingers crossed. I'm praying. I hope I don't jinx it for us, but
No, we won't.
no.
We won't jinx it.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that. But Sean, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. You can find him at Red, White, and Bills on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Is that correct?
That's right.
And you can find me, Brett, at the Buffalo Bills Report on YouTube and Instagram. And you can find me on my own Instagram at datdude_BM. You can find Sean at Sean Kugla 11B. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I tried to remember it off the top of my head, so I'm trying to remember it. But
yeah, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for you guys that watched. Go subscribe to his channel, my channel. We're going to be doing this more, of course.
Definitely, yeah. Go subscribe to Sean. Sean's a great guy. I love having him on. It's been a pleasure having you so much. I love your knowledge. We talk, especially off screen, a lot. I mean, we have a ton of content that's coming out, and we're both Bills fans. We're doing this just to have some fun with it. It's not about the subscribers, how many we get. We love to talk Bills stuff, and I think we're going to go big places. I really love what we're doing so far. It's been so much fun. You've been like a mentor to me, so
I appreciate that. It means a lot. Yeah, we're going to keep climbing, and like you said, it's okay if we don't have 1 million subscribers. What we care about is passing on our knowledge and thoughts to all you guys, and if you guys enjoy it, that makes us happy. Like if we have 2 subscribers and both of the people that subscribe love what we say, that's a win for us. So we're gonna keep going, and the more the better. Get ourselves out there, more people love it. That's just gonna be a huge win for us. So we're gonna keep doing it. If you guys have any other things that you want me to do on mine or his channel, or any collab ideas, or any specific thoughts that you want us to touch, hit us in our DMs, and we'll plan something.
Definitely, yeah. Or if you have any other things that you want to add, like you want a certain title for this podcast or something like that, definitely keep us in mind. Give us some ideas. We would love to have your input. It's been a pleasure, Sean, and go Bills.
Go Bills.